In order to find a parallel world suitable for human survival, the investigation team searched through hundreds of transmission gates and finally found the legendary outer planet behind an inconspicuous steel gate. Although the scenery here is beautiful and fun, they are still not careful for the sake of safety. They are busy tying the safety rope on each teammate's waist so that they can return it in time even if there is an emergency. With a nervous mood, the Vanguard team slowly entered the world. Unexpectedly, the temperature here is still high, and the gravity environment and the Earth are generally not very suitable for human survival. But when everyone was secretly rejoicing, there was a sudden movement in the grass, and it seemed that something terrible was approaching before they could react. A cute creature appeared in the eyes of everyone. They hurriedly rushed up Toth team and launched an attack. Faced with these terrifying creatures, even if the team is well prepared, they are still no match for them. It's just that they were thrown to the ground and could die at any time. At the critical moment, Amy hurriedly asked her teammates to pull the safety rope to leave this place as soon as possible. Unexpectedly, one of the monsters saw through everyone's intention and even cut off the rope with a piece of glass. Cooperate with other monsters to close the door of the gravity space and prepare to kill the scout team that will stay here. In panic, Amy hurriedly pulled out her gun and pulled the trigger consecutively. As air salt, she accidentally found that these monsters looked fierce, but their flesh was extremely fragile. If you step on it casually, you can kill it. But she didn't wait for Amy to find out and tell everyone. One of her teammates was pushed to the ground by a monster. The opponent picked up a stone and smashed his glass mask with a light blow. Then he opened the big mouth of the blood basin and bit it. Fortunately, the teammates in the critical moment finally opened the door of the gravity space. Amy and the captain finally found a chance to take the injured teammate to the human world. Others rushed up to support the mercilessly waving iron fist of the monster. Although they closed the door of the gravity space in time to avoid the tragedy, the members lying on the ground were already bitten by the monster, and their flesh was blurry soon. They were all out of life characteristics. However, the high-level members of the Eye of Heaven were not only sad for the dead agent, but also excited to guard the 5 islands, because in this mysterious area, there are still tens of thousands of transmission gates waiting for them to explore. As long as they find a parallel world that is similar to the Earth's environment and suitable for human survival, then they will get unlimited resources. So the high-level members immediately increased their efforts to continue exploring. Unexpectedly, as soon as they opened the gate, the members who were in a hurry were sucked into the dark abyss by a powerful magnetic field. Fortunately, they had already tied a special safety hand on their waist. This was the only way to bring their companions back to the real world. However, it was not easy to find the ideal dimension in the transmission gate of countless islands because no one knew what would come out of it in the next second. But in order to carry out the order of the superior, the investigation team could only overcome the fear of constantly traveling in a parallel world. Soon they came to a place where the dead agents were everywhere. The members who were in a hurry were not opponents at all, so they collided with each other. Inevitably, the woman could only drag her injured companion back to the human world. Unexpectedly, the dead agent was blinded by blood and flew over to bite one of the members. Although everyone was able to return safely under the cover of their companions, the injured companion was soon mutated and stood up again. As the exploration mission became more and more difficult, more and more agents fell on this path of no return. But General Rake had no intention of stopping at all. It was as if the lives he lost were just a stepping stone for him to achieve his goal. Seeing countless colleagues fall into the abyss of blood, the members who survived became more and more clear in their hearts that the Eye of Heaven was no longer an organization of justice, but a tool to satisfy General Rake's personal ambitions. But as long as they still wear this badge, they must obey all the orders of the superior. Fortunately, not long after, the exploration team finally found a parallel continent similar to the Australian environment in a rusty steel door. The oxygen here is sufficient and each indicator is in line with the human population. Can be said to beta ideal country. General Rake was extremely excited to name it the Old Familiar, and then he couldn't wait to meet the government officials and tell them the real purpose of his persistent search for this parallel universe. It turned out that his plan was to transform the Old Familiar into a super prison separated from the world, specifically used to imprison the most evil superpowers and criminals. In this way, they don't have to spend money to study the so-called pocket universe, and they can also exile all those villains to the outside world. When he heard this, the Minister of Security was shocked. He didn't understand why he punished the criminals and sent them to a planet with rich natural resources. Human rights are the only way General Rake can think of, and the reason why he is trying so hard to promote this plan is not without selfishness. A few years ago, when his son was on a mission, he was brutally killed by a super scum called the Peace Envoy. In order to avenge the bloodshed, the general had to throw the other party into the Old Familiar and kill himself. When he heard this, the team's Bordadon was disappointed and thought that the other party had abandoned the original intention of the Eye of Heaven. So he hurried to find Amy and put General Rake's plan aside. After discussion, everyone decided to jointly overthrow this vulgar organization. But in order to achieve their goal, they had to get the support off a mysterious person that it was inevitable that a few people quickly came to a remote car hotel and took the opportunity to throw a mysterious man who looked like Zhao Zina to the ground. However, after learning the truth, the peace envoy did not want to help at all. Instead, he thought that he deserved to be thrown into the old familiar be General Rake. It turned out that not long ago, Zhao Zina accidentally passed through the door to a room he was familiar with. But the strange thing was that there was a medal on the wall that said he and his father and brother worked together to save the Gotham City. Zhao Zina was very confused. The father and brother who should have died actually appeared in front of her. Shockingly, she suddenly realized that this was not a single space, but another parallel universe. In this world, her father and brother are still alive. The three of them get along very well, there is no gap and no regret. Zhao Zina also gained great recognition and respect in front of her father. This is a feeling she has never experienced, as if it has made up for the lost time. After a round of discussion, the father and brother returned to their room to rest. Zhao Zina hurriedly came to her bedroom. Unexpectedly, she found in this world that Amy, who had broken up with her, was in love with herself. This made Zhao Zina miss this world all of a sudden, but she didn't have time to be happy. A cold barrel suddenly stuck to her back of the head. Zhao Zina didn't expect to meet another herself in the parallel universe, so she hurriedly pressed the password and was ready to return to the main universe. Unexpectedly, the other self did not give up and followed her. Without giving her a chance to speak, she launched an attack first. At first glance, the other party was ready to kill the killer. Zhao Zina instinctively pressed the switch of the flying device to protect herself. Unexpectedly, she accidentally killed herself in another parallel universe. After this incident, Zhao Zina began to be depressed. She thought that she would bring bad luck to the people around her with the curse, so she deliberately avoided everyone and lived a self-destructive life. Fortunately, under the comfort of everyone, she finally stopped running away and chose to return to her friends to recover justice together. Unexpectedly, when everything was moving in the right direction, a group of mysterious people suddenly threw Zhao Zina into the car while it was dark. Then they quickly put heavy handcuffs and chains on her. They went to a certain underground building in a hurry. When Zhao Zina took off her headgear, she found that General Rick had been waiting for a long time. The other party did not care and pushed her into the transmission door and came to the so-called Savior Star. It turned out that the super criminal was transferred here. General Rick needs to confirm whether the Savior Star is harmful to humans. Zhao Zina, who has a personal grudge, has obviously become the most suitable candidate. It's all here. This is definitely Christopher Smith's signature. This is for Ricky, you piece of shit. As the researchers pressed the switch, the transmission door disappeared for a moment, and Zhao Zina was forever trapped in the Savior Star. General Rick's sword-like face suddenly showed a proud smile. It seems that the Savior Star is far more comfortable than expected. Zhao Zina, who heard the wild beasts howl from the woods not far away, suddenly became very calm. That as for whether she can escape this dangerous prison, I'm afraid we'll have to wait until the third season to find out.